Choo-choo, off we go! Hop aboard the Storytime Express and travel with me for today's adventure. If you look out the window, you can see we have arrived in Seussville. Today's theme is Dr. Seuss. His birthday is March 2nd, and so I thought today what a great way to honor him by reading some of his books. All right, so let's get started. Our first book is called What Pet Should I Get? By Dr. Seuss. What pet should I get? We want a pet. We want a pet. What kind of pet should we get? Dad said we could have one. Dad said he would pay. I went to the pet shop. I went there with Kay. And so we went in. I took one fast look, and I saw a fine dog who shook hands, and so we shook. So I said, I want him. But then Kay saw a cat. She gave it a pat, and she said, I want that. Then Kay said, now what do you think we should do? Dad said to pick one. We cannot take home two. Then what do you know? We saw two other kinds. Now how could Kay and I make up our minds? A pup and a kitten, they look like good fun. Now which would we pick? We could pick only one. Make up your mind. The cat, the dog, the kitten, the pup. Oh my, it is something to make a mind up. Then I looked all around. I saw some things with wings. I said, looky him. We can pick one that sings. But then, look over there, said my sister Kay. We can go home with a rabbit today. Then I looked at Kay and I said, what will we do? I like all the pets that I see, and so do you. We have to pick one pet and pick it out soon. You know Mother told us to be back home by noon. And I could have done it. I could have, I bet. I could have said what pet we should get. But you know what Kay did? Do you know what she did? She said, fish, 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 fish. It may be a fish is the pet that we wish. Look at the goldfish. Then I saw a new kind, and they were good too. How could I pick one? Now what should we do? We could only pick one. That is what my dad said. But how could I make up that mind in my head? Look at all the pets. What would you pick, boys and girls? Make up your mind. Pick a pet fast, pick out one soon. Mother and Dad said to be home by noon. The time may be now to make up my mind, but who knows what other good pets I might find. I might find a new one, a fast kind of thing, who would fly around my head in a ring on a string. Yes, that would be fun, but our house is so small. This thing on a string would go bump, bump into the wall. My mother, I know, would not like that at all. And so, maybe some other good kind of pet. Another kind maybe is what we should get. We might find a new kind, a pet who is tall, a tall pet who fits in a space that is so small. My mother might like this kind of pet best of all. Look at that. Dr. Seuss is very famous for making up things that don't really exist. Isn't that cool? If we had a big tent, then we would be able to take home a yent. Dad would like us to have a good yent, but you know, how would he pay for the tent? And so you see how it is when you pick out a pet. How can you make up your mind what to get? But what if we took one of each kind of pet? Then our house would be full of the pets we would get. No, Dad would be mad. We can only have one. If we do not choose, we will end up with none. I will do it right now. I will do it, I said. I will make up the mind that is up in my head. The dog or the rabbit? The fish or the cat? I picked out one fast, and that was that. There you see, boys and girls, they picked out a pet. And you know what? That's the end of the book. We don't get to know exactly what pet they picked. I don't know. What pet would you pick? So that was What Pet Should I Get by Dr. Seuss. Let's do another one you might not know too much about. This book is called What Was I Scared Of? What Was I Scared Of by Dr. Seuss. Well, I was walking in the night, and I saw nothing scary, for I have never been afraid of anything, not very. Then I was deep within the woods when suddenly I spied them. I saw a pair of pale green pants with nobody inside them. I wasn't scared, but yet I stopped. What could those pants be there for? What could a pair of pants at night be standing in the air for? And then they moved, those empty pants. They kind of started jumping, and then my heart, I must admit, it kind of started thumping. So I got out fast as I could go, sir. I wasn't scared, but pants like that I did not care for. No, sir. And after that, a week went by, and then one dark night in Greenwich, I had to do an errand there to fetch some Greenwich spinach. Well, I had fetched the spinach, and I started back through town when those pants raced around a corner, and they almost knocked me down. I lost my Greenwich spinach, but I didn't even care. I ran for home. Believe me, I really had a scare. Now, bicycles were never made for pale green pants to ride 'em, especially spooky pale green pants with nobody inside them. And the next night I was fishing for doubt trout on the Rover River when those pants came rowing toward me. Well, I started to shiver. And by now I was so frightened that I tell you, but I hate to, I screamed and rowed away and lost my hook and line and bait too. I ran and found a brickle bush. I hid myself away. I got brickles in my britches, but I stayed there anyway. I stayed all night, and the next night too. I'd be there still, no doubt, but I had an errand to do, and so the next night I went out. I had an errand to do. I had to pick a peck of snide in a dark and gloomy snide field that was almost 9 miles wide. I said, I do not fear those pants with nobody inside them. I said, and I said, and I said those words. I said them, but I lied them. Then I reached inside a snide bush, and the next thing that I knew, I felt my hand touch someone, and I bet that you know who. And there I was, caught in the snide, in that dreadful place, those spooky, empty pants and I. We were standing face to face. I yelled for help. I screamed. I shrieked. I howled and I yowled. I cried, oh, save me from those pale green pants with nobody inside them. But then a strange thing happened. Why, those pants began to cry. Those pants began to tremble. They were just as scared as I. I have never heard such whimpering, and I began to see that I was just as strange to them as they were strange to me. I put my arm around their waist and sat right down beside them. I calmed them down, those poor empty pants with nobody inside them. And now we meet quite often, those empty pants and I, and we never shake or tremble. We both smile and say, hi. Hi. And that's the end. All right, so what was I scared of? Nothing really. All right, so those were two sort of lesser known Dr. Seuss books. Now, if you want to show your child all the really cool Dr. Seuss books, we have down at the library this wonderful theme kit. That's all Dr. Seuss. What's in this kit is amazing. There is so much in here. We have Horton Hears a Who, okay, and that is on a CD, so you just play that. We have Horton Hears a Who. So we have the movie as well as the CD and Green Eggs and Ham. All right, so we have those things, and then look at all the wonderful books you get in here. Horton Hatches the Egg, Horton Hears a Who, Thidwick, the Big-Hearted Moose, Oh, Say Can You Say, by Dr. Seuss. Oh, The Things You Can Think, One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish. Okay, some of these are the books you probably know by Dr. Seuss. Green Eggs and Ham, everyone should know that book. I Can Read With My Eyes Shut, Dr. Seuss's ABC, Fox and Socks, another classic. Every child needs to know that story. I'm Not Gonna Get Up Today, that's a good one. Hop on Pop. And we also have, look at this, Green Eggs and Ham cookbook. So you can look in here, and there's all kinds of wonderful recipes that are all Dr. Seuss related, and so are the illustrations. So cool. So come on down to the library, ask one of the librarians if you're not sure where these theme kits are, and come get one and teach your child more about Dr. Seuss. We also do have Dr. Seuss biographies. So if you want to learn more about him, because his real name was Theodore Geisel. Did you know that? Yeah, and so he was a very awesome author, as you can tell. He has written so many books. Our last book today is one of my favorites. There's a Walk It in My Pocket. Are we ready for this? There's a little Walk It right there. All right, it says, a Findo in my window and a Nookgase in my bookcase. So this is one of those books where Dr. Seuss gets to make up all kinds of really funny little creatures. There's a Walk It in My Pocket. Did you ever have a feeling that there's a wasket in your basket? Or a neuro in your bureau? Or a wasset in your closet? What would you do if you opened your closet and saw that? Woo! Sometimes I feel quite certain there's a jertin in the curtain. Sometimes I have the feeling that there's a Zock behind the clock. And that Zelf up on the shelf, well, I have talked to him myself. That's the kind of house I live in. There is a Nink in the sink and a Zamp in the lamp. I think they're rather nice, I think. Some of them are friendly, like the yacht in the pot. But that yodel in the bottle, some are friendly and some are not. Like the Zabel on the table and the Gare under the chair. But that Bofa on the sofa, well, I wish he wasn't there. And those Nubbards in the cupboards, they're good fun to have about. But that Noothbrush on my toothbrush, him I could do without. How do you brush your teeth with him there? That would be awful. The only one I'm really scared of is that Vug under the rug. And that Quimney up the chimney, I don't like him, not at all. And it makes me sort of nervous when the Zoll scoots down the hall. But the Yeps on the steps, they're great fun to have around. And so are many, many other friends that I have found. Like the Teller and the Neller and the Geller and the Deller and the Beller and the Weller and the Zeller in the cellar. Look at all those friends. And the Geeling on the ceiling, and the Zower in my shower, and the Zillow on my pillow. I don't care if you believe it, that's the kind of house I live in, and I hope we never leave it. That's a walking in my pocket. All right, boys and girls, thanks for hanging out with me today in Seussville. Isn't this awesome? Join me again next week, and we will have another amazing adventure here on the Storytime Express. Bye now.